Hey, Mike Finnerty, do you recognize this video game? This Afterburner video game? Um, Around the year 1988, I went to visit John Finnerty in Colorado Springs. Something happened in here in Oklahoma where, you know, my mother and Shannon Saxon got into an argument. He moved out, and Sean came to me and said, Brett, oh, well, you need to go live with your dad. Your mom's only got so many chances at having a husband. You don't want to ruin her life, so you need to go live with your dad. So I was like, okay. I really didn't want to go, but I was like, okay. So, I'm getting ready to go. About a week goes by. Shannon Saxon comes back to live in the house again, and he comes and talks to me and says, I don't want you to leave. I want you to stay here. So I was like, okay, I'll stay here. And then, later, Sean Finnerty comes back to me and he says, Brett, you should go visit your dad for Christmas. You should do that. So okay, I'll go visit my dad for Christmas. So I went to go visit my dad for Christmas. And they got me plane tickets and they sent me to, I was supposed to land in Denver and go to Colorado Springs. So I land, and here's the thing, before I get on my plane, it's probably the same day. I can't remember because it's been so long ago. It was either that day or the day before. Sean Finnerty came to me and he said, Brett, I can't make you give me that tobacco, but I want you to give me that tobacco. I'm like, why? Why? He goes, well, first, if something were to happen and you died, you would go to hell. And he said, after knowledge of the truth, there remaineth no more sacrifice for sins. That means if you're willfully sinning, if you're willfully sinning after knowledge of the truth, there remaineth no more sacrifice for sins. That's what Sean Finnerty told me. I was like, wow, I didn't know you knew the Bible that much. That's really in the Bible? He's like, yeah, it's really in there. Jeff Hunt showed me that and all this other stuff. Jeff Hunt said, if you willfully sin after knowledge of the truth, there remaineth no more sacrifice for sins. So I go, okay. So I give him my tobacco, And another thing he said, I believe it was right after he said it, he goes, there's nothing better than eating a burger at a burger stand while you watch people go by, while you're waiting for your plane. Nothing better. Just watch people go by us reading burger stand. That's what Sean Finnerty told me. And I was like, well, is that what you did when you was in Florida? Because he went to Florida, when he worked for Trimline Design in Sulphur. He worked there at that place, tinting windows, putting pinstripes on cars, stuff like that. And he worked there right after high school, and he'd worked over there for a while. And they sent him to some kind of conference, down in Florida. So he went to Florida. And I remember that because he was talking about the Golden Child movie. And he was also talking about Coming to America with Eddie Murphy. And he would make jokes about that movie, both those movies all the time. And anyway, so he took my Copenhagen and he told me there's nothing better to do than watch people eating burger at burger stand, So I was like, okay. So I get on my plane, I go to Denver, and I'm at the airport, and I have about a 1.5 hour to 2 hour delay for my flight. So I'm waiting for my flight, and I'm sitting there. I don't think I waited very long. I looked at it, I was like, I got about an hour, maybe 2 hours. Maybe I'll find a place to eat a burger. So I started walking down. At that time, I would eat, hamburger and stuff like that. I don't now because of religious reasons. I don't eat that stuff. So anyway, I'm walking down and I'm looking for a burger stand, and I see one, and I look, and there's a person that looks just like Jerry Hawley. I'm like, oh, he's not my friend. I kept walking. He's not my friend. And proof is, in the 11th grade, my junior year, I didn't know they all knew each other. But everybody that was in my VOTEC class, they all knew each other. They were all friends. I didn't know it. I thought I just met new people I'd never seen before. I was like, oh, hey, how's it going? They call themselves Jim Conway, I didn't know who any of them were. They all knew each other. And I didn't realize that until Jim Conway beat me up. He punched me, he hit me so hard in the nose I couldn't even see straight anymore. And my nose would bled for felt like 20, 30 minutes before it stopped bleeding. And but I tried to go back to VOTEC the next day, and I'll never forget it. Jerry Hall was like, "Get him, Jim! Get him!" And it just kept coming after. Every day I'd go back to VOTEC, they'd taunt me during class. They'd taunt me after class. They'd even push me as I was trying to get in my truck, trying to start another fight. They would not stop. So I just quit VOTEC. I wouldn't go back. So anyway, Jerry Hawley wasn't my friend, but there he was in that airport. It looked just like Jerry Hawley. And I know it was because I remember somebody talked to me and they got some trouble. They tried to do something to a plane in which I was going to be riding on from Denver to Colorado Springs. And the people involved was Sean Finnerty, Mike Finnerty, and Jerry Hawley. So anyway, I go to this. I'm going through the airport, and I pass that area, and I walk out of that area, and I was like, well, I didn't see a burger stand I could eat at, and I turned around and I was looking, and I was like, there's three entrances. I didn't know which one I'd come out of. There's three places to go. I started walking through, and I saw it looked like the same place. I was like, okay, I recognize that. It looks like the same stand, but I didn't go in there because that's where the Jerry Hawley was. So I just kept walking, and eventually I missed my flight. I didn't know where it was, or I missed my flight. So I started looking for a phone book so I could call. First, I waited. I didn't know if this would call me over here and call him or not because I thought my dad would call for me, worried about me or something. So anyway, I found a phone. I looked for Colorado Springs first, but it was too far away, like 100 miles. Couldn't find a phone book for that. So I found one that had Littleton, Colorado in it, which is where my Uncle Dick was from, Richard Finnerty, which is Mike Finnerty's dad. Uh, he answered the phone. He came to pick me up. They took me to Casa Bonita restaurant while we waited for my dad to pick me up. My dad, he was already there right as we got there. Actually, I believe he was. He said, yeah, you can just hang out with Mike. And I was hanging out with Mike Finnerty. He went to his little video game arcade place, whatever. And we're playing video games and stuff. And while we're sitting there, I'm watching him play Afterburner. He's really good. He could finish the game, just kept extending time. He would finish the game. Mike Finnerty could finish the Afterburner. And I couldn't. But I sat there and I was watching him, and all of a sudden he just bumps me and says, hey, give this to her. So, well, just give it to her. So I'm like, okay. And I handed it to her. He said, excuse me, he told me to give this to you. And he's like, you're not supposed to say that. And he took it back away from me. I was like, okay. Whatever it was. And I believe that person left. I can't remember. But all I know is I'm sitting there watching him play a game. And all of a sudden he does it again. He goes, hey, give this to her. So, okay. So I said, he told me to give this to her. She grabbed it, took off running. And then I believe another one came up and did the same thing. And she took it and took off running too. And then one of them comes up to me and goes, hey, do you know what you gave me? I said, no, he just told me to give it to you. He goes, this. I said, ooh, $100 bills. I didn't know he was giving out $100 bills, And see, I don't know all the events that happened after that, but I do know this. John Finnerty, he said, Brett, when you keep looking at those mountains as we're driving, you came here today, you're leaving today. You landed in Denver, Colorado today. You're headed to Colorado Springs with me today. We're leaving Denver right now. Something happened back there you don't know about. You do not know about. I just want you to look at those mountains. Remember, you're leaving Denver, Colorado on the day you arrived in Denver, Colorado at the airport. And we headed to Colorado Springs. By the time we got to Colorado Springs, we get there, and John Finnerty said, we don't have a TV at our house. We don't have cable. We don't have all that stuff. They wanted to raise their daughter, Heather, right, and they said they were very religious, and they didn't have cable. They didn't have TV, and the radio station was tuned to something that Heather would listen to. So, okay. So I followed their rules, I just followed their rules. Whatever they said, it went, and they took me to ice skate. They took me to their little rock garden that they have in Colorado Springs. They took me to they have a place called North Pole. It's in Colorado Springs area. And it was pretty neat, little North Pole. They actually had a frozen North Pole with reindeer. And one day John Finnerty comes in, and he takes me to a record store. So we go to a record store, and I'm looking for an album. And that's where I got this album. And I got it for Sean for Christmas. And it was the Open Up and Say Ah album from Poison, but it has the full cover. Because in Oklahoma, they had it where you could just see the eyes. This was the full cover, so he'll like that. So I'll get that for him for Christmas. Meanwhile, I also opened it up, and I was listening to it while I was there, because that was one of my favorite bands back then. And I was listening to it, the Fallen Angel song, Every Rose Has a Thorn, all those songs. I just listened to them. And because that was my favorite music back then. And But at the record store, this occurred. I'm sitting there and I'm looking. I'm looking for what I want to, what kind of music I want to get. And these two people in military uniforms come by and they say, "How you doing, Mike?" And they laughed. I was like, I didn't understand. I was looking around and I went back over to my dad and I said, "Why does everybody call me Mike?" He said, that's what I need to see. That's why I see. And the other guy that was standing there, he was military. Yeah, that's why I see. These stupid. They're treating this like a joke. This ain't funny, right? And then we go back, and John Finnerty says, Brett, we have a TV. We have all. We were wanting to see your response when you went out to see what people said, to see what was going on, because people incriminate you in something you have nothing to do with. And they basically showed me what was on TV, and I was looking at it, and it was like it had my face on there, and it had Mike Finnerty. It had Mike Finnerty's face. It said Brett Finnerty. And I was like, well, what am I doing on TV? Well, what's my face all over TV for? What am I on TV? Why does it say I'm Mike Finnerty? He's Brett Finnerty. What's going on? And they said, they ruined your name, Brett. You haven't even graduated high school. Your brother ruined your name. Your brother, Mike Finnerty, and that person, right? It was they ruined your name. They ruined your name. There's nothing you can do about it. It's too late. And that was before I even graduated high school. So anyway, that even occurred, and I came back, and I remember going to high school, and I was in high school, and somebody came up, and they said, I can't remember who it was. They said, everybody saw it on TV. Everybody knows what happened in Denver. And I was like, I still didn't even know what happened.